Welcome to Global Insiders Podcast. I am Ryan, the peripatetic one, bringing you information about opportunities relating to jobs, traveling, and any information that can elevate you to your rightful place in this thing called life. You can find more information and how to methods on globalinsidersgroup.com. That is insiders with an S. And here is today's show. Hello, insiders. I hope you're all doing well. No matter how sharp we are, we all sometimes find ourselves in a rut. Heaven knows I'm often feeling that way. But my guest today is a man who has managed to manifest some interesting things in his life, and please continue doing what you are so we can learn some things from him. Welcome to the show, Justin. Please introduce yourself to the insiders.
Thanks, Ryan.
Please introduce yourself to the
Hey,
insiders.
insiders. Okay, thank you. We got a little bit of delay maybe going on here. Hey, everyone, I'm Justin, and currently I'm working with Fukushima Prefecture. Yeah, that Fukushima. I'm working with the government, just promoting their products. So I'm living here in Japan.
Okay, excellent. Justin, where are you from originally?
Yeah, I mean, my hometown is San Francisco, so, U.S. However, there's two things about me that kind of throws off a few people. One, as you had guessed, is maybe my last name.
Yes.
So the word Velgus, Velgus.
Yes.
And to be honest, I'm not 100% sure of my family's history. I know my mother's side is German. However, her and her mother, were born in the U.S. And then my father's side, however, where the name comes from, of course, is kind of a mix of Eastern European. I mean, I've looked it up, and I've heard Czech, I've heard Polish, I've also heard, Russian-speaking countries, Ukraine, Latvia, Slovakia.
Yes.
So somewhere around there, I'm sure, but I'm not 100%. And then I had this kind of strange accent going on. I have no idea where that came either. No one in my family sounds like this.
So maybe it's it's coming from the past, from the genes, maybe something passed on over the years. Okay, thank you for that. So you're saying you're currently in Japan?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, excellent. So how many years have you been living there?
Well, since about 2013, I guess my full time living in Japan, I would say. So about 6 years, almost 7 years now.
Okay.
It's been wonderful.
Yes, thank you for that. And what brought you to Japan? I mean, moving from America to Japan, what caught your attention why you decided to move to Japan?
So any of you insiders listening, if you ever come to Japan, this was the question everyone will ask you. They're going to say, why did you come to Japan? Why do you like Japan? And, well, coming from California, there was already a kind of Japanese community there. I remember Japantown in San Francisco, the Cherry Blossom Festival, going there. For me, it was more of the traditions and the culture and the history, like samurai and stuff. I thought that was really, really cool. I used to do some martial arts like Aikido and Kendo.
Yes.
That was where I kind of got hooked, much more than the pop culture, the anime, or the manga. Although I watch a little bit of Rurouni Kenshin and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, you just said two things that's really standing out to me. So you're saying that in San Francisco they have like huge Japanese festival?
Well, yeah, San Francisco, just like New York, there's a ton of immigrants. And, of course, Chinese is the main one, but every single country. And, of course, Japan being right across the Pacific, there's a decent-sized Japanese population. And there's a lot of history as well between San Francisco and Japan. A lot of that is, unfortunately, kind of dark history related to World War II. But there is history before that and, of course, much after. So I grew up in my little suburb of San Francisco, actually outside San Francisco, East Bay area. Yeah, I had a lot of Japanese friends in university. And they taught me a little bit about Japanese stuff, but it was really just getting hooked on YouTube videos and reading history books. And again, that kind of samurai image always attracted me.
Okay, excellent. And also martial arts, that stood out to me. Also, what are you, a black belt?
No way. So, I mean, it depends on which martial arts you're doing, because not all belt colors are the same.
Yeah.
Everyone starts as white, and then there's usually a yellow, and I believe I got up, and then an orange, and then maybe a green or something in Aikido.
Yes.
I got to like an orange, so I did it for like, a year and a half or 2 years, and we had a kendo club at my school.
Yes.
And we went to the tournaments in LA called the Uihai tournaments. This is the biggest kendo tournament on the West Coast. And our captain, Kenichi, he got the championship there.
Oh,
it was
really?
so awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like our leader. We only had like 6 people.
Okay, what is the name? What is the name of that
Uihai? Yeah, Uihai tournament. I believe that's the name. This was like 10 years ago now.
Okay. Time does fly. All right, thank you for that. So, by the way, do you still manage to get some martial arts in, especially that you're living in Japan?
You think I would be the center of martial arts world, which I am, and there's definitely dojos even in this city, but no. I kind of stopped.
Okay.
You get busy, you find other stuff to do. I try to stay active. I like cycling and, jogging recently, but the martial arts has kind of been just put off on the side.
Okay.
I never really picked it up at all here.
Okay, thank you. So, you're saying that you were basically attracted to Japan because of being exposed to the culture in your own city. And when you so when you moved to Japan, was it up to your expectation, or were things different from what you expected?
Sure. So my first impression of Japan and right now is, of course, very different. So I've been living here since 2013, but the first time I visited was 2009.
Okay.
This was way before the tourism boom. Now there's so many tourists here. People say don't even go to Kyoto. It's just packed with people. That's what they're saying right now.
Yes.
I went there before that, and I thought it was lovely. My first time to Japan was 2009, the summer, through a program called, what is it called? Camp Adventure Youth Services. And actually, any of your younger listeners that are still in college can actually apply for this program. And what it is based with the U.S. military, kind of a volunteer program. They'll put you at a military base somewhere around the world. You can select where you want to go. You don't always get it, but I was very lucky I got Japan.
Yes.
And you're just like a camp counselor, singing songs, playing games, and I did that for 3 months in the summer.
All right, could you tell me the name of the program again?
Sure. Camp Adventure Youth Services. Through this program, I was placed in a military base called Iwakuni. This is in Yamaguchi Prefecture, about a 1-hour train ride from Hiroshima.
Oh, okay.
Down in the south of Japan, even more than the north, it is very hot. You are like melting in the summer. And on top of that, I was a student. I had worked part-time before, but I never really worked a full-time job, and this is volunteer.
Oh.
So it was cheap to get to Japan. It was free. Yes. I got to Japan. I got a little bit of a stipend to pay for, some food and stuff. So I wasn't really losing money, but I had to work Monday through Friday, 8-hour days. We had to, we had rules. We were living on a military base.
Yes.
I remember one day I was jogging around the perimeter, and on the jogging path, you can use your headphones. You can listen to music.
Yes.
But anywhere else on the base, you're not supposed to.
Oh.
In case there's some air raid or siren or alarm, you can't hear it. And I just left my headphones in, running back to the barracks because we were staying on the base. and I didn't realize they were in. And these two guys on a Jeep pull up and like slam the brakes in front of me and point at me. What are you doing? Get those headphones off.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, they were. I was so scared because these guys are huge. Now I have short hair, and I was just wearing a running suit, so they probably thought I was a soldier.
Probably.
So they got really angry at me, and I said, "I'm sorry, I'm just new here." And they're like, "Recruits came 6 weeks ago." And I'm like, "I just got here last week." And they're like, "You're a soldier, right?" "No, I'm with the camp." "Oh, the camp guy." Don't do that,
Yes, understood. I mean,
so a lot of rules, very hot, full-time work. So my first impression of Japan was totally different than what most people are gonna experience.
So let's fast forward it now to when you enter Japan as a teacher, right?
Yes, actually, there's one more moment before that.
Okay.
I was in Akita Prefecture, which is part of the 6 prefectures that make up the Tohoku region and the northeastern part of Honshu, the main island.
Yes.
So Akita had very cold winters, lots of snow, not something people from California are used to.
Yes.
I was studying abroad there. I was a student there for 1 year.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It was an exchange program with San Francisco State University. Go Gators! Woo! So yeah, it was cool. That's how I had a very gradual, kind of easing into Japan. First time on a U.S. military base. It's like a small America. You have to use American money.
Oh, really?
On the base.
Wow, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that.
Market. There's a movie theater. There's bowling alley. Because families and stuff live there too.
Yes.
So none of the soldiers, a few of them. I don't want to say none of them, but not many of them speak Japanese because they don't need to. They live in a little America. So that was an English-speaking environment. Foods were all, familiar. And I got a small introduction to Japanese, kind of countryside and a little bit of Japan. Next was as a student. So again, a very safe and secure atmosphere, even though it was very rural place outside Akita City, in the mountains, surrounded by forest. Every single week, we would get an email alert from the school, and they said, "Be careful, a bear was spotted near the campus again."
Oh, really?
And then that area is also famous for a kind of monster called Namahage.
Yes.
So we've got demons and bears surrounding our school at night.
Namahage.
Namahage. And those things are those are awesome. Every Chinese New Year,
yes,
like in February,
yes,
they will come down from the mountains and they'll go into the little villages and they will go into the house and scare the children. And the parents will say, no, I'm sorry. My kids didn't study. My kids didn't clean. But here, have some food. Have some sake. And then the demons, which of course are just villagers in mask,
yes,
will drink it. And sometimes they'll get like a little bit of tip or money.
Yes.
And then they'll go to the next house.
It sounds like a good deal. Sounds like trick-or-treating adults.
Yeah, trick-or-treating. It's for adults. It's awesome. So I spent the year there, and I saw the kind of countryside of Japan and experienced the winters, and I really fell in love with the Tohoku region, because I traveled around during that time, of course. There was some samurai history. Well, that's everywhere in Japan. But the beautiful mountains, the rice fields. There's not a lot of foreigners up in Tohoku. And so this was it really felt special. When you arrive in Tokyo, anyone that hasn't been there, you'll be a little disappointed in some ways because it feels like 10% of the people are foreigners, at least in the tourist areas.
Yes.
Which is fine, but you don't feel like, hey, this is my Japan. And some people get annoyed at.
Okay, understood. So, what did you study at the university?
So university, again, I was very interested. I started to become interested in Japan. In the U.S., we have a system called community college. Some places call it like junior university, where you'll take your main courses for 2 or 3 years or however long you want, and then you'll transfer to a 4-year university. That way, you only have to do it for 2, 3 years or however long it takes you. You save money. You figure out what you want to do before. So I'd taken some Japanese classes at the community college in Aikido and Kendo, as I said, those martial arts. And then I wanted to study Japanese culture or Japanese history. That's what I spent all my time doing, was watching the videos on YouTube, reading the books about, Japanese history and civilization and all these things. But they didn't have Japanese studies as a major at my university. They only had Japanese language. And I wasn't interested in the Japanese language.
Yes.
As you know, as anyone in Japan knows, it is muzakashi. It is very difficult.
But you have tackled it though.
Well, I got through it somehow, I remember after graduating, probably my lowest point, I paid all this money for this degree, for an education. You can't see, this is Skype, but, I'm doing the quote with the fingers. Where, after a month or two, I had forgotten, even katakana, which is like a super basic Japanese.
Really?
Well, you lose it, what is it? You don't use it, you lose it, however they say.
Yes.
But again, it wasn't my focus. I was not even interested in Japanese language at the time.
Yeah.
My thinking on university, I'd already decided I want to try and go back to Japan. I want to try and teach English in Tohoku.
Okay.
How am I going to do that?
Yes, how are you going to do that? Tell us how you did it.
Well, there's different ways, but anyone that's been looking into it must have heard of the JET program, Japan Education and Teaching, or is it Exchange and Teaching? I'm not a very good. The JET program.
Yes.
Well, most of the people there, about 4,000 or so across the country of Japan. If you're from a native English-speaking country, U.S., Canada, South Africa, New Zealand, Jamaica, any of these places, you can maybe, if you're lucky, get an assistant language teaching position.
Yes.
That means you're paired with a Japanese person that's an English teacher, and you're assisting them in the classroom. So I just wanted to really look good on paper. I was watching YouTube videos, I was reading blogs and blog posts about how to get the interview, what you have to do to get on the paper, and it's notoriously competitive.
Yes.
Now, I think they may have increased the number of positions, but it's still very, very difficult. It's a top job. It's the one you should try and get. The paycheck is good. They take care of you. That's the best thing.
Yes.
You go to some of these eikaiwas, these English teaching schools, or these other ALT programs. Not all of them, but some of them will take advantage of you.
Yes.
Because you won't know you don't know the laws in the country, you don't speak the language, and you don't want to go back home, and they know that. So they might do things like make you work extra days or not follow the contract, but JET program is very strict. Hey, this is when they start, this is when they finish, and if you have some culture shock, you need someone to talk to in English, there's usually someone to talk to. So again, it's very, very good. I wanted to look good on the paper. If I can get that interview, I know my people skills could get that through. So, hey, Japanese major would look really good on paper.
Yes.
Although I didn't really study that hard. So my goal, I was kind of thinking, just get to Japan, get the English teaching job. Once I get to Japan, then I'll start studying Japanese.
Okay. Yes.
It's kind of step by step. Like, well, if I can't go to Japan, what's the point in studying? Besides thousands of dollars and 3 years of my life,
Yes. Understood. All right. So basically, you moved to Japan because you fell in love with the place after visiting several times. That's a great reason.
Yes.
That's a great reason. And of course, so just give us a little insight on how your experience as a teacher was. Just a little. Nothing too deep.
Sure. So I was what they call an early start JET. So that means I start in April instead of August, when most of the JETs will start. I'm living here in Sendai right now, the largest city in the Tohoku region, capital of Miyagi Prefecture. Usually JET program participants all come together. But I was an early start, so I came by myself. I didn't have the 3 days of Tokyo orientation. I didn't have I didn't have any friends when I came here. And that was, really kind of tough, to be honest. I was thinking already at the time I might want to live in Japan long term. So I know you want me to talk about the teaching position, but you can find this stuff online. This kind of transitions into my next career anyway.
Yes.
It was cool. You just teach and eat school lunch, and you have fun with the kids, and you do that.
All right, good. So
But
yes. So as you say, you managed to move from a teaching job to another job. Could you speak a bit about that? Because how you made that transition and like how you went about doing that. Because I know for many persons they want to move from a teaching job, but it's difficult for them to move from a teaching job to something else. So please give us a step by step about process of how you did this.
sure. So when I came here as an ALT, I didn't have a lot of friends. I wanted to make friends. I thought one way was to learn about the city, the history, the culture, the good restaurants, the good cafes. It gives you a talking point, right? What do people talk about? Food. Or
Yes.
if you're new, hey, have you been here? Have you been here? And I'd always say, no, no, no. So I started going there and learning about it. And I became a volunteer tour guide with a group called Gozain. That's Gozain. And I'm still a volunteer guide today, 5 years later. I also ended up writing a lot of articles online about this area on japantravel.com, especially, and was a volunteer guide at the city museum here for about a year and a half. What I'm saying is, I started to get into tourism, and I was looking for that kind of career path. After 3.5 years of being an ALT, I was ready for something else. I wanted a job where I could speak Japanese. I wanted a job where I thought maybe I can help the Tohoku region. Remember, it was March 11th, 2011, that the big earthquake triggered the tsunami that hit this region,
Yes.
particularly Iwate Prefecture, Miyagi Prefecture, and Fukushima Prefecture, where that later ended up into kind of a nuclear disaster.
Yes.
So I found this job and applied for it. I thought it was a tourism job. It ended up being a kind of products promotion. So very kind of different. But basically, I had just made the decision I want out. That's the first step.
Okay. So the first step is just saying you're finished with the teaching thing. You want to leave it and you want to do something else.
Yes, that's the first step. And you got to decide probably about 6 months before your contract is up because it's going to take some time. You're probably going to have to move apartments. That's a pain because usually you're under contract. That's where you have the apartment. So you're going to have to move. You're going to have to job search. And then you're going to have to work out the visa with your next job. And that takes a little bit of time as well. Not too bad. But you got to start looking a little bit early.
Okay. All right. And you want to talk a little bit about the job or no? It's up to you.
Sure. Before that, if it's all right, I want to give the listeners some more solid advice. What I'm talking about, where to find these jobs.
Sure.
If
Please
you
go
go
ahead.
to any big city in Japan, they're going to have kind of a job outreach program called Hello Work. I even went there. It's not going to really help any of us non-Japanese at all. Those jobs usually aren't even that good, and they're not looking for foreigners because foreigners would never really go there.
Yes.
How you're going to find a job and make money in Japan is speaking English. I think if you speak English, I mean another language too, of course, you have your own possibilities and opportunities. But if you speak English, that's the language of money here.
Okay.
So next, you're going to have to speak some Japanese. It doesn't need to be perfect. If there's a job hiring a non-Japanese, they don't expect you to be perfect, and they're probably hiring you for your English.
Okay.
So knowing you have an advantage and knowing you need to study a little Japanese, then you got to go out and network and just meet people. Go to events, look online, connect with others. Word of mouth is going to be your number one chance to get a job. Out your next job or any job, any opportunity in Japan is always through word of mouth. Anywhere outside those big cities, outside Osaka, outside Tokyo, the cities like Sendai is 1 million people, but everyone knows each other here. A couple of the right people, you're going to be able to connect with a lot. of people.
Okay.
How I found my job, I thought I was going to go to a tourism job. I had something lined up here in Sendai. It didn't quite work out. I was in a panic. I had 1 month before I had to end my contract and go home. So I just went looking everywhere online and asking people. Again, networking, you're not always going to get offered something, but if you ask for it, you can actually get a lot. So I think that's one problem, especially nice people, or you think, oh, he's too busy, she's too busy, I don't want to bother them. No, if you need help, if you need a job, especially something like that, you got to ask. Yeah. People will help you if they're your friends. Yeah. That's what I'm realizing more and more. I'm bouncing around a little bit, but to go back how I found my job, I found it through Facebook, actually. Oh, yes. So there's a lot of ALTs and JET program Facebook pages. I'm here in Sendai, so I was looking at places in Iwate, in Yamagata, and in Fukushima, and I found a post on the Fukushima JET program page of this job opening, looking for a foreigner to help promote Fukushima. I said, no way. There's no way I can do this job. First, I live in Sendai. That's a little bit too far away. It's about an hour and 20 minutes by regular train, yes. And I wasn't really so keen on moving. That was a first. Second, my Japanese is okay, but at that time, so-so. Much better than university. But again, you're speaking English all day. You get paid to speak English. A lot of English teachers, unfortunately, their Japanese is not high. Maybe a medium level, even if they study. You know, it's just there's so much English they're speaking every day, even in Japan. Yes. So I didn't think I could do the job. I was too far away. I had no skills in what I found out was a trade promotion job and product promotion job. I applied anyway. I got an interview, and they said, do you have any business skills? I said, no, but I love Tohoku, and I'm willing to learn. Yes. They said, that's good enough for now. They stepped out of the room, came back 5 minutes later. Congratulations, you got the job. Like, what?
What? Was this interview done in Japanese?
This was Japanese, yeah. It was for an English-speaking position, but it wasn't Japanese. There's a lot of stuff online. You can read about how to do a Japanese-style interview, and especially outside Tokyo, that's what they kind of, well, even in Tokyo, they kind of expect it to. Anywhere north of Japan, they're slower to change. Okay. So everyone has seen a foreigner, but not a lot of people have interacted with one. My office, I'm the first foreigner there. Yeah. So they didn't really have any expectations what the Japanese level should be, what they can do, how to talk to them, how to treat them. I found out 2 months later when I was drinking with my bosses. My big boss said, Justin, we're so happy to have you. You're really great. And then the lower boss said, actually, Justin is the only one that applied. He's the only one that applied to the job.
So basically, what you're saying, then opportunities are online, but persons must they must go searching for these first of all, so that they can see them and they can try to use them.
Exactly. Yeah. To summarize, you need to make a conscious decision. I am ready to find something else, and I'm going to look for it, right? Okay. Not just, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes.
Second, get out there and look for it, and try, even if it seems impossible.
Because it might
thought it was impossible.
Because it might just be possible, okay?
It might work out.
All right.
It might work out, and it did. It did for me.
Excellent. So, what challenges can people expect if they decide to work in government in Japan? They decide to work with the government.
Sure. So I think most of the people that work with the government in Japan are probably going to be transitioning out of an English teaching job similar to me. At one point, you got to make the jump from, and that's the easiest way to get to Japan, teaching English. Yeah. There's some other people that do other jobs, and that's great. But for most of us, it's teaching English. Yes. The hardest thing is just the jump itself. From an ALT or English teacher to a Japanese company, yes, that's going to be pretty tough. You're going to have a lot of rules, The communication style is going to be different. You're going to have a lot more responsibility. You can't get away with stuff that you might have when you're an English teacher.
Yes.
Now, for a government job, you got to multiply that by like 3 or 4. It is much more serious. Yeah, there's fun in the office sometimes, but if you make a mistake, it's big trouble, right? You send the wrong email. You're government. So you send the wrong email, or even if you send the email wrong, you CC'd that person when you were supposed to BCC them, you will get, like, reprimanded. So I found there wasn't, like, one thing that was super tough. It was just the adjustments, getting used to the different pace, the way things are done there. Because I had only had the English training background. Yes. The management style from the West and Japan is very different. Okay. We don't have morning meetings. I thought, let's have a meeting in the morning, 10 minutes. Hey, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Let's break at lunch. Da, 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 da. No. It's like we do a morning aisatsu, a greeting, where they would say, Ohayo gozaimasu, good morning, and we all repeat, Ohayo gozaimasu, and we bow. Yes. And then we say, Irashaimase, welcome, and arigato gozaimashita, thank you, and repeat and bow. And then everyone turns on their computer and stares at the computer all day, and we don't even talk to each other unless it's like something that's important.
Okay.
It's like very, very strange for me.
So a bit different. So the work culture is a bit different.
Yeah, and then the only other thing that is probably going to be a big problem for anyone that transitions into it is the lack of training or orientation. Now, if you're a regular government worker in Japan, you do these Komin tests, these public servant tests, then you're like a full-time, authentic worker. But most of us are going to get something like a contract worker, a shokutaku shokuin. So I had a 1-year contract, and I could renew that. It's going to be about 2.5 years right now. But we don't get any training. It's like some people will help us, whoever's next to you, and there's kind of a lack of direction. So everyone else will get 2 weeks of training. How to write a business email, how to do this, how to talk to this person, how to use the phones, how to use whatever. And I'm just kind of thrown in there. It took me like 2 months till I even felt like I knew what I was doing. I mean, just like where's the file, how to use the copy machine, the basic stuff.
Yes.
So that's the regular adjustments. Those things are the biggest.
The biggest.
Factor.
Okay, understood. All right, so we're almost at the end. But if a friend said to you that they were planning to move to Japan, what would you say to them?
I'd say go for it.
Go for it.
You know, especially if you're that bold to say you're going to move. You're probably young. You're probably a little stupid. And you probably got a whole lot of life ahead of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, before you're married, before you have to worry too much about money, just go travel around the world.
Okay.
You know, try and stay safe and stuff. But Japan's very safe. And contrary to popular belief, there's affordable hostels, there's affordable food and stuff. The most expensive thing you're going to have is the plane ride over. And from there, you can figure it out. Okay. Yeah, definitely come. And other thing is, please explore different areas of Japan. Please come up the north, the Tohoku region, and maybe I'll see you there.
Okay, excellent. All right, so I mean, this is Global Insiders, and I usually talk to people about traveling. So, how many countries have you traveled to?
Oh, wow. Maybe about 10 or 12.
Okay.
I'm guessing, and a lot of those through my job. I do a lot of overseas promotion.
Okay, that sounds awesome. So, which is your favorite?
Oh, you know, I'm going to have to probably say New Zealand.
Okay,
I really enjoyed their tourism sector. I'm really into tourism now. I'm thinking that for a future career. Just the nature, the zip lines through the forest, the Waitomo, the caves, the hot springs in Rotorua. There's a very beautiful, very majestic, and just beautiful countryside. There's a lot of sheep and cows.
A lot of sheep and cows. A lot of sheep and cows. Okay, I like that. All right, so we're almost at the end, but I want us to play a word association game. So I'll say the words and you tell me what comes to mind, okay?
Okay.
Alright, so life.
Short.
Okay. Future.
Now.
Alright. Travel.
Want more.
Instagram.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but lazy.
That sounds awesome, Justin. Thank you so much. So, thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure. It's been a blast.
Nice. If people would like to reach out to you, what would you? How can they do so? How can they do so?
Sure, probably just shoot me an email. That would be good. If I don't reply, send it again. I'm probably lazy, busy, but the second email I'll definitely get.
Okay.
It's justinvelgus@gmail.com. So that's my full name. Maybe Ryan could write that in the comments.
I can.
Or something.
I can. And Velgus is spelled Velgus, right?
That's correct, yeah. justinvelgus@gmail.com.
All right. Thank you for all the priceless information that you share, Justin.
You're welcome. If anyone has any more questions, again, shoot me an email or come visit me up in Sendai.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Thanks for listening today. I hope you are inspired. You can find more helpful and motivational material at globalinsidersgroup.com. That is, insiders with an S. You can also keep in touch at Global Insiders on Instagram. See you next time, but remember, you can be your own superhero. Bye.